Rich. We are going to talk sports today. We are going to get down to business of talking sports. Energy's a little bit down, obviously, but we're going to get to it. We're going to talk a little Ravens football. We absolutely are going to talk baseball. That was a travesty with what's going on with there. I can't wait to get on that. We're going to break down the Ravens roster. We start with the Rave, then we go to the Ori. We're going to talk a little March Madness as well. A little NBA today. A little stir up a little something in the NBA. Ravens, breaking down the Ravens roster, the depth chart as well. I have that there on the screen. Roster moves are trickling in now. So this is not the entire roster yet. Okay. We're not going to know it to the draft. There's obviously things still happening that's going on right now. But let's take a look at what's here now, right? A lot went out the door. We already covered that. I mean, they lost Ronald Darby, you lost Patrick Queen, you lost Kevin Zeitler, John Simpson, Morgan Moses has been traded. A lot went out the door. So you got 9 draft picks that you haven't had the draft yet, which the Ravens absolutely feel like that's the biggest time to add to their team. But what's here right now? Okay. So if they're going to play a game on today, on March 27, what does the roster actually look like here? So let's take a look here at what we got. This is the biggest ad right now. Lamar obviously is QB1. Can he go ahead and win the Super Bowl for us? Second MVP season that he's had in his career. Josh Johnson's the backup. I see a lot of. I actually like him. I actually like him better than some fans apparently like him. Look, he probably should be a third stringer. I think they go in the draft and get somebody late, but I don't think it's his bad. I think of Josh Johnson. I'm fine with him getting through a game. If you need him for several weeks, if you need him to put a lot of points, no. But can Josh Johnson get you through a game? Absolutely, no question about it. Derrick Henry. Interesting to see here. I'm going to talk about this. The poll question I put out, everybody was saying, who's going to have more rush yards next year, Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson? And I put this in a few chats and did a little and then everybody was like, this is a silly question, man. Derrick Henry. Okay. I'm not so sure. Hear me out. Lamar has led the team in rushing so many years. Especially if, watch the roster here, if they do take a running back. That's big. That'll show you. The Ravens kind of don't like bell cow, don't like a guy carrying the load, don't like a guy doing so much. Especially if they take a running back in the first 3 rounds, that's an indication to you. Now, again, if they give Henry as many carries as they can handle, there's no question about it. I don't see that happening. That hasn't happened really here. We haven't really had a bell cow since Ray Rice. So let's see if they give Henry the opportunity to be a bell cow in this offense. Justice Hill, I think, is a good fallback option to hear no matter what happens in the draft. Keaton Mitchell was very good last year. You may not have Keaton Mitchell for a lot of the year. So keep that in mind. Pat Ricard, no question, he's on the team. He's one of one in the entire league. No matter who's running it, it's Lamar or Derrick Henry. You want Pat Ricard blocking for you. Zay Flowers and Tylen Wallace at the top of the screen there. Zay Flowers is the number 1 receiver on the team. No matter what happens in the draft, no matter what happens, whoever else they bring in. That's it. Tylen Wallace, I think as of right of now, we'll talk about that. He's going to be on the team. He's also your number 1 kick punt returner. They're going to be changing the rules with the kick and punt return. So that role might be integral more again. Rashard Bateman is going to be wide receiver 2. Nelson Aguilar is at the 3. That's about right. Are they going to pick up the option? They have to decide pretty soon about Rashard Bateman's 5th-year option. I don't think they're going to pick it up. We will see if they pick it up. Rashard's option. Aguilar, I think, is smart enough. He signed early last year. He signed early this year. I thought he was really good. I think they're really lucky to have him back. I think this is a good fallback option no matter what happens in the draft, etc. Mark Andrews came back in a championship game. He should be ready to go week 1 next year. Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar. Put that in pen. I doubt they even draft a tight end with these three guys. You got a couple more years of Kolar. You got a long-term contract for Andrews. Strength on the team. Offensive line. Let it begin. Ronnie Stanley. This is the first team that I have for now, and this is not anything official from the Ravens, but this is how I stack it up right now. Ronnie Stanley, Andrew Voorhees at left guard, Tyler Linderbaum, Ben Cleveland at right guard, Daniel Falele. Patrick McCarty, I think, can fill it in any of those spots. I think they still would rather leave him at 6 where they get the true value. Josh Jones got signed in free agency. I don't know about that one. I think they just I think they wanted an extra camp body there. And Lalutu there is still there. He was in the left guard fight for a lot of camp with John Simpson, who's now gone. So keep that in mind as well. Unimpressive, guys. Voorhees, we really don't know what he can do. Voorhees had trouble health staying in college. He had trouble health staying in the combine. He probably would have, if he had stayed healthy, he probably would have had a 3rd-round grade. I mean, according to everybody. But is that a starter? I don't know. Big question mark there. The right side, I think there are a lot of people not liking the right side if this is what it is. Ben Cleveland and Daniel Falele. Falele kind of struggled, I thought, as well, more than he did his rookie year. He looked pretty good a couple times out of his rookie year. I think he struggled more last year. Ben Cleveland, I think right guard is where he can play. I think this is probably the best of the options there. They definitely got to go in the draft and do something. Definitely have to go in the draft and do something. And they're for sure going to do that. They got 9 picks. So upgrading the team, they're definitely going to go in the draft here. Defensive line is set pretty good. Justin Matabuke, Michael Pierce, Broderick Washington, Brent Urban, Travis Jones. Urban has already been extended. Travis Jones still with Pierce. I thought Jones would take over the spot from Pierce, not because he's been so poorly. I think eventually he will be. But I think Pierce just outplayed him last year. I thought Pierce was really good. Pierce is really good. As quiet as kept, he stayed healthy. He's always been good. He's a good run stopper to have, perfect nose tackle, especially next to Matabuke. Part of the reason is quiet as kept why Matabuke had such a good year because you had big Mike Pierce in there. Linebackers. This is of right now. Adafi Owe, Roquan Smith, Trent Simpson, David Ajabo on the roster as well. Those are your starters. Malik Harrison, Chris Board, Tavarius Robinson is backups as well. So definitely going to be some movement here. Jadeveon Clowney, Kyle Van Noy. I think Kyle Van Noy may resign. Clowney's going to get a lot of interest. Maybe not. Harbaugh seems to want it. That's always a sign that he wants it, and he likes the guy when he comes out publicly like he has. So that's a thing. But we'll see. I think he's going to have a lot of interest. Roquan and Trent Simpson, I think you can basically go ahead and lock that in as far as that. I'm thinking they're going to draft a linebacker inside. I'd be surprised. They also brought Chris Ford, Malik Harrison in as well. So they're not going to just hand it to him. He's going to have to earn it. But I think playing next to Roquan Smith can make a lot of people look good. We got no answers with Ajabo and Owe. Nothing. We're kind of in the same spot as we were last year with those guys. We still don't know. Owe trending down, in my opinion. When you're mentioning pressures, yeah, that's not a good thing. Now the good news is it's not as bad edge rush as it is because you have Justin Matabuke. So I think that kind of like it's not as big of a need as it maybe looks like it is because you have Matabuke here. Secondary on your team: Marlon Humphrey, Brandon Stevens, Marcus Williams, Kyle Hamilton. Nickelback, I think, will still be determined. Darius Washington won the job out of camp last year pretty much, and then he was injured. So I'm going to pencil him in right there at the nickelback spot here so far. Pepe Williams is there. Kamal Hamilton, and have him at safety. He's pretty much a corner but you got a couple corners already. He was signed. Arthur Millette is absolutely going to be your third corner, no question about it. Still waiting on Pepe Williams and Justin Armour Davis. They were on the roster all last year. Really didn't contribute. We still don't know. Injuries, not contributing much. Kind of like similar to the Russians. What do we actually have with those guys as well? So it'll be interesting to see what they had. Definitely, this is a draft need. I think the safety position. Geno Stone went out the door. You traded away Chuck Clark last year. Backup safety is going to be a thing. You know, you have outstanding starters with Marcus Williams, Kyle Hamilton. Marcus needs to stay healthy. Very important. Okay. One last one. Justin Tucker, Jordan Stout, Tylan Wallace. I have him as the number one, and Nick Moore. Tyler Ott's already signed with a different team. Nick Moore is back healthy, should be the starter. Maybe they give him some competition because he hasn't played in a year. We'll see if they give him some competition. But I think it's probably, I'm pretty sure it'll be Nick Moore. Tylan Wallace, I'm going to pencil him in as the number one. As for now, like that's another spot for sure in the draft. They're going to look at kick returner, punt returner. Justice Hill has actually done some kick and punt returns. Maybe they split that up with Duvernay gone as well. A lot of times you use a running back more at a kickoff return and a punt return, so we'll see that as well. It is possible. So there you go. The roster as it is right now, as far as depth chart, couple things. Michael Gallup looking to sign possibly with the Ravens. Because you got to replace Odell Beckham Jr., who's definitely not coming back. And also, too, you had Josh Reynolds on your team looking to sign with a team, came in for a visit. Now, why didn't they sign? Okay. Rock Ya-Sin was a great example like this. They came in for a visit and they signed. They're going to sign if you pay them. They're going to sign if you pay them a big contract. Short of that, a lot of veterans don't necessarily want to sign. Why don't they want to sign now? They're waiting for the draft, right? They don't want to go ahead and sign now and then have the Ravens draft 3 receivers, and then you're stuck further behind the depth chart. So they don't want to do that. So unless they're getting a large contract, which they're not going to give them, it's probably a 1-year deal, possibly 2-year deal, avoidables or something like that. They're not going to want to sign. So you're going to see a lot of guys like those guys kind of wait until after the draft, then sign. Rock Ya-Sin, that's exactly what he did. He came in for a visit way before the draft. Then he saw the Ravens didn't sign in a draft. Then he really except Kyle Blue Kelly, and so he signed elsewhere. So he did sign with the Ravens.